Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name's Josh Hall. This is the Original Rebels Racing League Grand National Series. Getting ready for our final race of the round of 8. I do apologize for the little bit of a late delay here, as we got about 2.5 or about 3 minutes left here in practice. I take that back. This is the second race of the round of 8. We have one more after this. We'll be moving on to Darlington next week before our final race at Homestead, Miami. Of course, I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. Yes, I realize the title is wrong. I'm working on fixing that right now. We also want to thank all of our veterans that are either racing or watching here tonight. We do have patriotic cars out on the track. See if we can find one of our drivers who is running a patriotic scheme out there. I know I saw one. There's one. Steve McDonald running that red, white, and blue Budweiser machine. Of course, you see your playoff drivers are highlighted in blue on the tower, except for Jonah Colbert, who has already locked himself in to the next round. Let's take a look at our points coming into tonight. You see Jonah Colbert locked into the round of 4. Andy Kurtz, Eddie Smith, and Mike Kosick currently your top 4, although Smith and Kosick right there on the bubble as Jason Lottridge only 1 point behind Kosick. And Brandon Pollock a few points back as well. He's within 10 points, so he's within striking distance here. So it's still anybody's ball game. And if somebody's able to lock themselves in tonight with a win, it could really shake up the standings, as we have about a minute left here in practice. Jonah Colbert currently up at the top of the board. Trying to work that high line, which is not something you normally see here at Richmond, but it is viable and can be done. As we hear, cars are just finishing up here, and we're getting ready for qualifying. Let's see who our first driver is to make their way out onto the racetrack. See Jonah Colbert going to be one of the first ones out there trying to get his qualifying attempt in early. And Richmond International Raceway, D-shaped oval in Richmond, Virginia. Has that short track feel, but off of turn 4 here, it's really easy to get really loose there and out of control. So watch that be a trouble spot tonight off of turn number 4 as Jonah Colbert goes up to the top of the board. Now Eddie Smith jumps up to the top. as Jonah goes P3 currently. Lance Spanberg. Out on track right now, coming across the stripe for his second lap. He's going to move up into the 7th position. How about this? Griff out on track. Haven't seen Griff in quite a while, running a patriotic scheme as well. We love seeing all the patriotic schemes out there tonight. We want to thank all of our veterans and wish all of our veterans a happy Veterans Day today. Of course, we do appreciate all the servicemen and women who keep this country safe, and we do appreciate the sacrifices that you have put in so that we can have our freedoms as well. So, as Griff currently goes P6, Jonathan Cofield out on track. Ooh, Cofield having a little connection issue right there. So he starts his green flag run. Right down on that yellow line through turns 3 and 4 and down to the stripe, taking the white flag. He's going to jump up into the 6th position. Heavy on the brakes down into turns 1 and 2. Ooh, catches a little bit of the apron. That's going to help that car rotate, but sometimes you can over-rotate right there as he comes down the backstretch towards turn number 3. And across the stripe. And Cofield is going to stay right there in that 6th position. Matt Knight's out on track. Just took the green flag. Coming down to the stripe to take the white flag. Down through turns 1 and 2. Oh, gets real loose off of turn number 2. He's going to lock it down, though. Catch that inside wall. That is going to disallow his time on the 2nd lap. As we have just about a minute left here in qualifying. See if anybody else makes their way out on track and tries to get a qualifying attempt in. But at the moment, it does not look like anybody else is going to try. So, of course, we want to thank everybody who's joining us here tonight. I want to thank all of our great partners here, including Kinder Farm and Ranch, Cofield Asphalt Refinishing, Dark Horse Motorsports, Chuck Pegleg Felts, JC Racing Graphics, all of our great partners here that bring the racing possible, or make the racing brought to you possible here on Intensity Broadcasting. Of course, we also want to thank our great partner over at Butt Kicker. Of course, Butt Kicker is an established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel ultra-low frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC gamers and console gamers, including professional sim racers. The patented design makes them incredibly accurate, powerful, and virtually indestructible. The Gamer Plus is a new and upgraded sim racing haptic that reproduces immersive, accurate, and powerful sim racing, flight sim, and gaming effects. Check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out which one's right for you. Visit thebuttkicker.com. And as I've mentioned before, they make more than just gaming haptics. You can find their products. They make subwoofers and haptics that you can put in your couch cushions to increase realism when watching movies. So check all that out over at thebuttkicker.com as we get ready to grid them up here and we take a look at our starting lineup. And on pole tonight will be the 8 of Mike Kosick getting that Peg Leg Felts Pole Award. Rolling off from the 2nd position will be Eddie Smith. Back in 3rd will be Daniel Cunningham and Jonah Colbert rolls off from 4th. And row 3 will be Tyler Rice and playoff driver Jonathan Cofield. Andy Kurtz, another one of our playoff drivers, rolling off in 7th. And William Griffith up into the 8th position here. Then Charles Stevens Jr. and Brandon Pollock round out your top 10. Ray Page and Lance Spanberg will be in row number 6, with row 7 being Matt Knights and Brandon Wallace. Steve McDonald rolls off 15th with Brett Bieber in the 16th position. Chris Reese and Jesse Nekula back in row number 9. And rounding out the field in row 10 will be Travis Bieber and Mickey Isaac. As we get ready for the cars to roll off here and start their first of 2 pace laps. Of course, we want to thank our other great partners, raceepi.com, for all your coaching and setup needs. Check out raceepi.com. And of course, you can always support us by checking out intensityracing.com for all your hats, t-shirts, coffee mugs, not just of Intensity, but all of our great leagues as well, including our new Kinder Farm and Ranch collection. So check that out at intensityracing.com. You can also go intensitybroadcasting.com, the link down below in the description, as the cars make their way out onto the racetrack. We start taking a look at all these great patriotic schemes. Mike Kosick running one of those great patriotic schemes here tonight. Again, William Griffith back there. Tyler Rice in the Mission 22 machine. Saw Steve McDonald in that red, white, and blue Budweiser machine. And it looks like Jesse Nekula in that 84 also running red, white, and blue. Another Mission 22 machine, the 62 of Chris Reese. So a lot of respect for the veterans, and that's why we've got that logo right there. You'll see them cycle through on the top right. The Rebels, the butt kicker logo, but of course, the thank you to all of our veterans and current active military men and women who, again, make this country safe for all of us. Kevin Kinder says, let's go racing, and we're getting ready to go racing here tonight at Richmond. We see the field making their way down the backstretch of this half-mile D-shaped oval. Pace car pulls down on the pit road. Mike Kosick leads them down to the green flag. It's in the air. We are racing here at Richmond, and already side by side for the lead as they go down into turn 1 for the first time. Eddie Smith up on the high side. Mike Kosick down on the bottom. Here comes Daniel Cunningham down on the low side as well. He's got Jonah Colbert right behind. As they start to get single file, Eddie Smith trying to take the lead up on the high side, but Kosick trying to fight back on the bottom. As they all start to get single file behind, we see up front Eddie Smith is trying to get the lead. He's going to lead the first lap here up on that high lane as they come down into turn number 1, and Eddie is going to clear the 8 of Kosick as they make their way down the backstretch. And Sponberg side by side. Oh, trying to make it 3 wide down into turn number 1. We saw Brandon Pollock down there on the low side. Ray Page also on the low side trying to get around Pollock as everybody starts to get a little more straightened out here. Oh, almost some contact between Ray Page and Charles Stevens Jr. as they make their way through turns 1 and 2. Right behind, we see the 56 of Sponberg trying to make his way into the mix here as well. Ray Page trying to get that run on the low side, but here comes Junior back up on the high side as they come down into turn number 1, and Ray Page is going to take that position away. Further back, we see Steve McDonald battling side by side with Chris Reese. This is a battle for the 14th position, as Reese is going to take a look now underneath Matt Knights in that 64 machine, and Travis Bieber is going to try to follow right along as well. Steve McDonald stuck up on that high side. He's going to lose a couple positions here as he's going to slide back into the 15th position. As we see Bieber going around Matt Knights, and here comes McDonald to the inside of Knights. So move McDonald back up into the 14th position. William Griffith under attack from the 6 of Tyler Rice as they go down into turn number 1. Griff on the defensive, but trying to be on the offensive, trying to find his way around Jonah Colbert. Of course, Jonah already locked into the round of 4, the championship 4, with his win last week. That's why he's highlighted in yellow. All your other playoff drivers will be highlighted in blue at the top of the screen. Oh, some issues out on track, it looks like. Jonathan Cofield was down on pit road. Brandon Pollock has some issues as well. Let's take a quick rewind to see what happened here. See Pollock down through the grass. And not sure what happened to Cofield here. Don't know if he had a connection issue or what, but he is being shown multiple laps down now. As we are back with live pictures of Eddie Smith. Sorry, now we've got live pictures with Jonathan Cofield, who's currently being scored 6 laps down. Travis Bieber, Chris Reese continue to battle. Brandon Wallace right in front as well. Wallace up 3 spots into the 11th position, trying to move himself up in the top 10. As Bieber gets really loose there off of turn number 2. Able to gather it up, but here comes Chris Reese trying to take advantage of that slip up with the momentum. Just not quite close enough to make it happen, though, as he's going to be able to hold off Chris Reese. Daniel Cunningham now has Jonah Colbert all over the back bumper. Just realized that Cunningham is running a Patriotic scheme as well. It has that Space Force theme on his car. As Mike Kosick's trying to run down Eddie Smith, but right now they're running pretty much equal times. Smith makes his way off of turn number 4 to cross the stripe, and we start lap number 13 of 150. Oh, we see down on the apron, Tyler Rice having some issues. Take a look here. Oh, Rice got real loose off of turn number 4. We talked about that in the pre-race. Able to get it woed down, though, and he's going to not bring out a caution by keeping it down off the racing surface. Brandon Wallace, Jesse Nekula side by side as they come down the backstretch. Nekula down on the bottom, trying to take that position away, and he's going to take it. Now we see Brett Bieber trying to take advantage of the momentum loss of Wallace as they go down into turn number 1. And now Brett Bieber is going to take over that position, moving Brandon Wallace back into the 15th position. Chris Reese side by side with Lance Sponberg. Sponberg running that Navy scheme. Oh, some contact. Sponberg got loose. Gets down into Steve McDonald. He slides down to the apron. No caution. Take another look at what happened here as we see McDonald trying to work around the inside. Yeah, Sponberg just got really loose there and catches McDonald. McDonald able to lock it down. Barely touches the wall. No real damage to that 68 machine, so he should be able to continue on. But he will definitely be searching for a caution to get himself back in position. So Eddie Smith now starting to pull away from Kosick just a little bit. William Griffith running back in the 5th position. And he's trying to run down Daniel Cunningham. As Cunningham is now fallen back into the 4th position as Jonah Colbert has gotten around. This is the pass that Colbert made up on, whoop, you can't see it because the screen wasn't there yet. Jonah up on the high side. And we'll get right around Cunningham down into turn number 1. So the field's starting to get stretched out a little bit. That time by, though, Kosick was a 10th faster than Eddie Smith. And behind we see Jonah Colbert, who is 2/10 faster than both Kosick and Smith. So he's trying to run him down here late in the run. Kosick starting to inch closer to Eddie Smith as they come up on the lap car. I believe that's Steve McDonald they're running down right now. Yes, it is. So Steve McDonald in danger of losing a lap now off of turn number 2. You see the leaders making their way to him as Kosick starting to run down Eddie Smith and in a hurry. Now Jonah's right there as they work around Steve McDonald, who's going to stay up on the high side and out of the way. So unfortunate for McDonald, but a lot of racing left. He's got some time to get himself back on the lead lap. Oh, as Lance Sponberg has some issues. He was down on the apron. Let's take a look to see what happened to the 88. We saw him get loose earlier, and he has trouble spot again off of turn number 4. Down through the grass, through John Deere country, but able to keep that car under control enough to avoid bringing out a yellow. Looks like Eddie Smith has now turned on the afterburners as he's pulling away from Mike Kosick and Jonah Colbert now. Last time by, he was a 10th faster than both Kosick and Jonah. Through the field, though, everybody except for our top 3 starting to really stretch out. And now Jonah's starting to fall back a little bit off of Mike Kosick, as he may have burned up his stuff trying to run down our leaders. Let's take a look at where our playoff drivers are right now, starting with your leader, Eddie Smith. Eddie trying to win tonight, lock himself into the Final Four at Homestead, Miami in 2 weeks. Sorry, not in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, as we will take a week off for the Thanksgiving holiday. Mike Kosick runs back in second. He would like to get a win here. He's right on the bubble. Currently 4th in points, but right there on the bubble, in danger of getting knocked out. A win here tonight would lock him in to the next round. Jonah Colbert already locked into the next round with his win last week. So he's just out here just trying to get some experience, get some seat time, and maybe try to get a second win here to lock somebody else out of the playoffs by not letting them advance automatically. Back in 4th, the 54, Daniel Cunningham. Also trying to have a good run here tonight to get himself to Homestead, Miami. Then we'll find Andy Kurtz back in the 6th position. Andy up 1 spot currently in the 6th, trying to continue his march forward as he's trying to run down the 12 of William Griffith. Then we'll go a little bit further back to 16th, where we'll find Brandon Pollock, who isn't having a very good round. Currently 6 positions from where he started and really starting to struggle a little bit these last few races. So he's in a must-win situation either this week or next week. And then Jonathan Cofield currently down 6 laps. He will be your last driver in the playoffs currently, and was in the top 4 before having the connection issue that sent him a couple laps down. That is the equivalent of the of a mechanical failure here in iRacing. So trying to do everything he can to get maximum points here tonight. As we see him get a little loose there, trying to get around Spanberg. But right now it looks like he's having a very difficult night as he's down on the apron, letting your leaders go by. See Daniel Cunningham trying to get around, and now it's going to put him 7 laps down. Travis Bieber trying to run down Ray Page, trying to take over the 7th position. As Eddie Smith continues to lead, and hey, why not? Oh, we got drivers having some issues. Travis Bieber is turned around on the backstretch, and that is going to bring out our first caution of the night and our first Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind. And that is exactly what Steve McDonald wanted to see. We take a look to see exactly what happened to Travis Bieber here. Saw him racing hard, trying to get around Ray Page, and you see the back end starting to slide right around that trouble spot off of turn number 2. Just loses it and able to lock it down. It does catch the wall just a little bit. Then he reverses right there back across the track into traffic, and that's what will bring out the caution. So the entire field making their way down on the pit road, led by Eddie Smith. Yeah, it does look like Steve McDonald is going to get that lucky dog to get himself back onto the lead lap. Don't forget, there is no resets in this league, so any damage that these drivers incur, they'll have to try to get fixed up here on pit roads. We see the left sides go up on A. Smith's car. There goes Mike Kosick. Eddie's going to be down and away. He's going to win the race off pit road. Here comes Jonah Coburn trying to take over second, but Kosick is going to get off of pit road ahead of Coburn. So Eddie Smith gets off of pit road first. Mike Kosick in second. Jonah Cobert back in third. Daniel Cunningham in fourth. William Griffith comes off in fifth. Andy Kurtz in sixth. Charles Stevens Jr. seventh. Chris Reese, Ray Page, and Jesse Necula here top 10. Don't forget to join us on Sunday night as our truck doubleheader continues their round of the playoffs. Of course, the Outlaws and the Rebels Sunday night series will also be taking on Richmond they'll be taking on Kansas this week, and then they'll be going on to Richmond next week. Then we'll have the week off for the Thanksgiving holiday. Then your final race will be on December 4th. So as the field cycles around here under yellow, of course, short track racing, these drivers know that they got to get all they can on these fresh tires. Could we see that infamous yellows breed yellows? We'll see his lights on the pace car go off. Eddie Smith will choose the outside lane, putting Mike Kosick down on the bottom. Daniel Cunningham and Jonah Cobert back in row number 2. Then Andy Kurtz and William Griffith back in row 3. So Eddie Smith choosing the high lane. He had a good jump on the initial start of the race to take the lead on the high lane. We'll see if that continues here on the restart. As Eddie Smith brings them down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. We're back racing, and Eddie Smith immediately out to the lead. And here comes Jonah Cobert using that high side right now, trying to get around Kosick to take over the second position. And he will clear Kosick off of turn number 2 and move himself up into second. A little battle back here. William Griffith, Charles Stevens Jr. side by side. Ray Page, Chris Reese right behind as they come off of turn number 4. Griff doing everything he can to try to get around Charles Stevens Jr. Oh, Griff gets loose there on the bottom. Able to gather it up. Took the whole corner to do so. That really checked up the drivers behind him. As Ray Page, we see him working down to the inside of Brett Bieber, trying to take over the 10th position. Brett, though, going to use that high lane to roll the momentum and get himself up into 10th. A little bit of a more mild restart this time. The field's starting to get stretched out, single file yet again. As we approach the 1/3 mark of the race, with Eddie Smith leading since the drop of the green flag. Tyler Rice, loose down on the bottom, trying to get around Travis Bieber. Saw him have some issues earlier as he's still fighting a loose race car here. We ride along here with Tyler Rice. You can see his hands. That's how much he's struggling here with this car. Oh, and the caution flag is out. It looks like it's for the 88 of Lance Sponberg, who's looped it off of turn number 2. That's going to bring up our second Kinder Farm and Ranch Wreckage Rewind as we take a look to see what happened to Sponberg in the 88. You already see that car in trouble as he's already losing it. Going down into the corner right in front of Steve McDonald. Donald able to dive down low, down onto the apron to avoid the 88, and he's able to lock it down and keep it off the wall. So everybody was just on pit road, and that's going to bring out our second caution. And as I mentioned, cautions breed cautions. Is Jonathan Cofield going to get one of his laps back? So I mentioned we'll have the doubleheader on Sunday night. Fortunately, I will not be calling the Outlaw race. I'll either be Atlee Hatman Weiss or Joe Wright, one or the other. But I will be there for the Rebels race on Sunday night. So looking forward to the exciting racing at Kansas Speedway. So we're getting ready to go back green flag racing. Lights will be off on the pace car this time by. We are just past the 1/3 mark. Tuesday night doubleheader, we're going to have the SCSRA and Doghouse Racing Leagues coming up this Tuesday. Kicking off with the Doghouse Racing League. Taking on Nashville Super Speedway, followed by the SCSRA Maze Construction Truck Series, which will be heading off to California Speedway, so Auto Club Speedway. So you're not going to want to miss the action on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, the Dev Sports Cards Xfinity Series with the SCSRA will be taking on Talladega Super Speedway. Then we have Thunderstruck on Thursday, Grand National on Friday. Don't want to miss a thing as Eddie Smith up on the high side, leading them back down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air, and again we see Jonah Kober jumping right out into that second position as they make their way down into turn number 1, just behind Daniel Cunningham and Andy Kurtz. Were side by side. Kurtz trying to fight back up on the high side, but Cunningham's going to take that position away. Chris Reese looking down to the inside of Charles Stevens Jr. He's going to push up the track a little bit, but able to keep that under control. So he's going to, gets loose there off of turn number 4, trying to get around the 88 of Charles Stevens Jr. Right behind, we see Ray Page able to move around Jesse Nekula and Brett Bieber is there. Oh, Chris Reese is around. Ray Page involved as well. Both drivers down off the apron or onto the apron, so no caution. Steve McDonald now trying to get around Brett Bieber. We stay green. So we take a look to see exactly what happened here as Chris Reese down on the low side gets loose right there, and we see Ray Page getting loose himself. So both drivers getting loose, making contact with each other down below the apron. Doesn't look like enough damage to really hinder each other's race here. That's going to set them back in a hole as we still see these two battling side by side, Steve McDonald and Brett Bieber, as Bieber is going to take over the 12th position. William Griffith taking a look down to the inside of Charles Stevens Jr., and Griffith's going to take over 6th. See a little bit of damage to the right front of that 12. Oh, as he gets loose into turn number 4, tries to hold on to it. He will. 3 wide down the front stretch. What a save by William Griffith as he's going to fall all the way back into the 11th position. But man, heck of a save there for the driver of the 12. So we ride along here with Griff. We see the hands. He's got that thing cranked all the way to the right. Really fighting that wheel, but able to get it straightened out. And man, a wild moment there for the entire field. Now Griff trying to work his way back up to the front as after that incident. You see that right rear tire is pretty angry as you see that car sliding around right now as he tries to work his way back up towards the front. Back up front, Eddie Smith leads Jonah Colbert over a half a second. And Mike Kosick back in third. And while we've got a little break in the action here, let's go ahead and do one of my favorite things, and that's pump up the intensity. Love the sights and sound here at Richmond Speedway. Listen to those cars at full song as Eddie Smith continues to lead over his teammate, Jonah Colbert. We've got a little battle back here. Tyler Rice, Jesse Nekula side by side. This is a battle for the 8th position. Nekula in that 8th position up on that high side. He's going to hold on to that position as Tyler Rice is going to tuck back in line. Daniel Cunningham is Andy Kurtz all over the back bumper. Kurtz trying to run down Cunningham, trying to get some points here to move himself into the round of 4. You see this battle side by side between William Griffith and Brett Bieber. Rice now moving around Nekula, move into the 8th position. And Kurtz has caught Cunningham. It's just a matter of if he can get around him. Kurtz trying to work up to the high side. This battle is continuing between these two drivers, and a great battle indeed between them. Back up front, Eddie Smith as Jonah Cobra trying to run him down. And Jesse Necula, Chris Reese, and William Griffith all battling for position back here as well. Now Eddie's starting to pull back away from Jonah Cobert. We got a side-by-side battle between William Griffith and Chris Reese. Reese looking down on the bottom. He's going to clear Griff. That's Tyler Rice. Was just battling here. It wasn't Tyler Rice. It was Jesse Necula. Yep, Jesse Necula now trying to run down William Griffith. Chris Reese, Steve McDonald side by side. Reese around McDonald, move Reese up into the top 10. As Brandon Wallace now trying to work to the back bumper of Jesse Necula. As we have just passed the halfway mark of the race. Eddie Smith continues to lead. He's led every lap since the drop of the green flag. Everybody was last on pit road on lap 39. So these drivers will not be able to make it to the end on fuel. So we'll see how far they're going to try to stretch it. I see Travis Bieber starting to run down the 88 of Charles Stevens Jr. Oh, Griff having some issues. He's around on the front stretch. Trying not to bring out the caution. He's going to reverse there down onto the grass, trying to get that car straightened out so he does not bring out the caution, trying to stay down on the apron. A lot of damage to the 12 machine. So he's able to get it back going. And we stay green flag racing. Let's see if we can see what happened to Griff here. Just loses it all by himself, goes sliding down through the grass. And again, tries to get it woed down so he doesn't cross over onto the track to bring out the yellow flag. So now we see Griff making his way down on the pit road, but a heavy damage to the right side of that machine. So Bieber running down the 88 of Charles Stevens Jr. He's going to look up to the high side. Junior's going to throw the block. He's going to be able to stay out in front of Bieber for right now, as Lance Sponberg also coming down on the pit road to get his service done. That'll be his last pit stop of the night. Andy Kurtz now trying to look up to the high side. Daniel Cunningham, but just was not close enough to make that move stick. And Brandon Wallace trying to work down on the 68 of Steve McDonald. So as this run goes on and tires start to wear out, everybody's trying to battle everybody right now before our final pit stop. Which, if I had to guess, would be coming up within the next, I'm going to say 10 to 15 laps. Cunningham able to hold off Andy Kurtz for now. Both these drivers are trying to move themselves into the round of 4 in 3 weeks. Brandon Wallace still trying to run down Steve McDonald to take over that 12th position. Up front, Eddie Smith now pulling back away from Jonah Colbert. He's got just over a half a second lead over Colbert and then a half second lead back to Kosick. So our top 3 within a second of each other as we are quickly approaching 50 laps to go. Kurtz keeps trying to make that move around Daniel Cunningham, as now he's going to get the look down to the inside as they come down into turn number 3. Cunningham, though, trying to fight back up on the high side. Ooh, Cunningham almost gets a little loose there. Able to keep that momentum, though, as I think it spooked Kurtz just a little bit. They're side by side through turns 1 and 2. And Kurtz not able to clear the 54. He's going to have to regroup and do it all over again. Oh, Cunningham gets loose there on the bottom. That's going to allow Kurtz to go right around on the high side. So Kurtz couldn't get it done by speed, but takes advantage of the little slip up from Cunningham to move himself up into 4th position. Chris Reese looking down to the inside of Tyler Rice. Now Rice has Sponberg, who's on fresh tires. And you see the difference in speed fresh tires is going to make. Last time by, Sponberg ran a 23.2, where Tyler Rice's last lap was a 24.27. William Griffith back out on track after getting repairs done, but he is quite a few laps down. See at the top of the board, Griff is 8 laps down. Cofield now only 5 laps down. I know he's kind of hoping for a caution to come out to try to get himself back into the race here, but right now Lance Sponberg would be your lucky dog. I take that back. Matt Knights would be your lucky dog as he just went a lap down. And he's got Jonah Colbert taking a look down to the inside, trying to get around as well. Well, Cunningham in some trouble now. He just got passed by Travis Bieber, so move Cunningham back to 6th. As we see William Griffith on those fresh tires, trying to work around the outside as well. Lap traffic is not making it easy for Jonah Colbert, Mike Kosick. Colbert now a second behind Eddie Smith as Kosick gets around Matt Knights. And Charles Stevens Jr. has Cofield looking up to the high side as he just got passed by Brett Bieber as well. Brandon Pollock trying to run down Matt Knights to gain at least one more point here. Gets a little loose though on the low side. He's going to have to try to regroup and do it all over again. Here comes Jonah looking down to the inside of Steve McDonald. So lap traffic not making it easy on the leaders. We take a look from high above in the sky from the iRacing blimp. And you can see the lap traffic. Eddie Smith running up on the 99 of Brandon Wallace. See how much of a fight Wallace is going to put up and if that's going to hinder his lead here as Jonah Colbert's trying to run him down. Next time by, we'll have just 40 laps to go. It looks like Jonah is starting to run down Eddie Smith just a little bit. We ride along here with Jonah. Ooh, Eddie just caught the wall a little bit. Saw the sparks flying. You hear just how smooth Jonah is on the throttle. Tyler Rice now making his way down onto pit road. Again, I'm not sure that everybody can make it to the end of the race on fuel. Jonathan Cofield down on pit road as well. Now Eddie Smith starting to pull back away. Our leaders pretty much running all the same times. Last time by, Eddie Smith ran a 22.8. Colbert ran a 22.9. Kosick ran a 22.9. Andy Kurtz ran a 22.8. And Travis Bieber ran a 22.9. Daniel Cunningham back in 6th ran a 22.8. And Brett Bieber back in 7th at 22.9. So pretty much our top 7 running identical times right now. It's just a matter of how much lap traffic is going to affect these drivers. And if they have to make their way back down onto pit road. Just saw Cofield make his way around. He's on fresh tires, just came down pit road. Currently 7 laps down, but you see the speed difference that these fresh tires are making. I wonder if our leaders are starting to see that, or if any of our drivers more towards the middle of the field are starting to see that. I might try to gamble, come down pit road and get some tires to try to gain a point or two for the playoffs. Ooh, Brandon Wallace got real loose there off of turn number 2. Eddie Smith is running him down, trying to put him 1 lap down. That would put only 10 cars on the lead lap once Smith gets around Wallace here. As we are closing in on 25 laps to go. Ooh, Eddie Smith loose again, up into the wall again. As he works down to the inside of Brandon Wallace. Now Jonah's going to have to compete with Wallace in a moment. You know, Brandon did not want to go a lap down. He is not in the playoffs, but trying to hold his position. See that 99 really loose there off of turn 2 again. And how about that last time by? Eddie Smith and Jonah Colbert ran identical lap times. Every once in a while, Colbert kind of sneaks back a little bit. Then Eddie starts to pull back up. These two have been trading lap times back and forth for the last 15 or so laps. I don't know if I can do this, but I'll try. Nope, it does not allow me to do that. Now Eddie Smith starting to pull back away from Jonah Colbert. As we cross the line. And now Eddie is pulled out to a 1-second lead over Jonah Colbert. Then Mike Kosick is another second back as we see William Griffith real loose down on the low side. Doesn't want to wreck Kosick, but he's trying to get himself a good finishing position. As Eddie Smith comes across the line, we have just 25 laps to go here at Richmond International Raceway. Chris Reese trying to run down the 88 of Charles Stevens Jr., excuse me. And we see a battle back here between Brandon Pollock and Steve McDowell. Jesse Nekula having some issues, just went off track. See him down on the grass. He tries to make his way back onto the racing surface without bringing out the caution, and he will indeed get that straightened out. Let's see if we can see what happened to Jesse here. Looks like he might have got loose here off of turn 4, as we've seen a couple drivers do here tonight. Right down through the grass, but able to keep the racing green. So now Jesse's going to come down pit road and did not come down pit road and get tires and fuel. It's Chris Reese, Charles Stevens Jr. side by side. And Reese is going to move himself up into 8th position. We ride along here with Eddie Smith right off the nose of the car. Trying to figure out if he was in fuel conservation mode or not, if they have enough fuel to make it to the end. Again, last in on lap number 39. So they've been out there for almost 100 laps. As Jonah has the hard-charging 12 of William Griffith right behind. And 20 laps to go. Oh, Chris Reese, has a connection issue. He's dropped out of the race. He is falling like a rock through the standings. That's a huge break for some of our playoff drivers who aren't having the best of nights. Oh, Griff had some issues. He's back sliding through the grass. It will lock it down, though, again. Keeps the race green. So as the tires are wearing off, drivers are struggling to keep their cars underneath them. Jonah currently 0.8 of a second back. He's got a second half lead over Mike Kosick running back in third. And unless something drastic happens, Eddie Smith continues to grow that lead over Jonah Colbert. And I really thought fuel was going to be a concern here in the late runnings of the race. Jonah's got the 6 of Tyler Rice running him down right now. Rice, though, is currently a couple laps down. So we have just 8 drivers on the lead lap. Our last driver on the lead lap is the 88 of Charles Stevens Jr., but Eddie Smith is not too far behind. Trying to put the driver of the 88 car a lap down to put only 7 drivers on the lead lap. We cross the stripe next time. We'll have just 10 laps to go. Can Eddie Smith hold on for these final 10 laps to lock himself into the round of 4? See Brandon Pollock running down Matt Knights. This would move Pollock up into the top 10. Pollock was... They're on even tires here. Pollock, though, able to save his tires a little bit longer here for this final run. And Pollock, who was having such a rough beginning of the race, now finds himself looking for a top 10 spot, which will help his chances of advancing to the round of 4. Yeah, chances of the round of 4. Mike Kosick is running down Jonah Cobert. I don't know if Jonah's trying to save fuel. Oh, he's struggling with that car. You hear that car slip sliding around. He is not able to get the power down. Now we'll ride along with Kosick, and you can hear the difference between these two drivers. Both drivers struggling to get the power down, as Eddie Smith now with a 2.5-second lead over these two drivers who are battling for the second position. Just 5 laps to go. Daniel Cunningham trying to run down Travis Bieber to move himself back up into the top 5. Steve McDonald just came down and off of pit road. Here goes Cunningham around Bieber to take over that 5th spot. Bieber's going to fight back up on the high side, though. While that's going on, we've got a battle heating up for our 2nd place position. As both these drivers are struggling to get the power down. With just 3 laps to go. Lance Sponberg right out in front of these two as Matt Knights has some issues. And, Jesse Nekula makes some contact down into the corner. Knights really struggling to hold on to his car right now as we're coming to 2 laps to go. Eddie Smith down the backstretch does not want to see the caution, hoping to take the white flag. So the yellow flag will be put away. He comes off of turn number 4. White flag is in the air. Final lap for Eddie Smith. Mike Kosick closing in on Jonah Cobert on this final lap. Cobert trying to get the power down. Kosick is right there as they come down into turn number 3. Eddie Smith, though, is going to come across the line, and he's going to win here at Richmond. The battle for 2nd heating up, and Cobert is going to take home that 2nd position. Mike Kosick back in 3rd, Andy Kurtz 4th, and Travis Bieber in 5th. But how about Eddie Smith here? He's going to celebrate by chastaining turns 3 and 4. And possibly turns 1 and 2. What a way to celebrate here at Richmond. He's going to do it again. They have some fun here at the line. And Eddie Smith gets the win. It's their traditional Original Rebels Racing League Demolition Derby takes place. Let's take a look at the full results. Eddie Smith is your winner. Locks himself into the round of 4, our championship race at Homestead. Jonah Cobert going to come home 2nd. Mike Kosick in 3rd. Andy Kurtz in 4th. All 4 of those drivers are playoff drivers. Travis Bieber in 5th position. Playoff driver Daniel Cunningham comes home in 6th. Brett Bieber in 7th. Charles Stevens Jr. 8th. Brendan Wallace in 9th. And Jesse Nekula rounds out your top 10. Matt Knights comes home in 11th. Brandon Pollock, another playoff driver, back in 12th. Tyler Rice, 13th. Lance Sponberg back in 14th. Steve McDonald in the 15th position. And then Jonathan Cofield, one of our playoff drivers, having a rough night. Back in 16th, Chris Reese in 17th. William Griffith back in 18th. Ray Page and Mickey Isaac round out the field here tonight at Richmond International Raceway. As we get ready to talk to our top three here, starting with your third place driver here tonight, Mike Kosick. Mike, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, great run here tonight for you, coming home in top three. Looked like you and Colbert there at the end really struggling for grip on that run. Over 100 laps on those tires. How did those tires feel? And man, you're just giving it all there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, at the end there, it felt like there was no tires. There wasn't much grip throughout the run, especially on exit. So passing was going to be tough regardless, unless someone made a mistake. And I know Jonah and Eddie aren't really known for their mistakes, so I was just kind of cruising there in third for a while.
For sure. And how close were you guys on fuel? Because I know over 100 laps on tires, you guys must have been real close on fuel there towards the end.
I was probably 6 or 7 laps to the good.
So you're able to get it going. Well, next week we move on to, I think it's Kansas, isn't it?
Darlington.
Darlington. That's right. Thank you. I'm looking at a different schedule here. You guys move on to Darlington next week. How do you like your chances of that tricky track?
I don't know what my chances are. I'm gonna have fun in the race. So I mean, the track's a lot of fun to drive. It's just you got to be patient and just not make any mistakes.
Well, the drivers around you having a bad night kind of moves you off that bubble here tonight. So congratulations on the podium here tonight. And before I let you go, anyone thank any shout outs you got to give?
Yeah, thank you for doing the broadcast. All the admins in the league, Jonah and Daniel, for what they do for the series, and my teammates at Bandits.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats, and we look forward to seeing what you do next week at Darlington.
All right, man, thanks.
That was your third place finisher, Mike Kosick. Let's bring in our second place finisher, Jonah Colbert. Jonah, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, what's up?
Man, great run there for you tonight. You and Kosick there battling at the end on no tires. The slip sliding around, able to keep it going straight. How were you guys able to keep those cars going forward as sideways as you guys were running? I heard you could barely even touch the throttle.
I don't know how we were keeping it straight, but like probably 3 or 4 times on the front stretch, I started spinning past the start finish line. Like at one point, I was coming towards the end of the front stretch, and right before I started to brake, all of a sudden I heard my engine RPMs just go wing, 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 wing. I was like, that's not supposed to happen. So I don't know, man. It felt like I was driving on freaking plastic tires or something. It just wasn't able to put no power down. It was a lot of fun though, that's for sure. It made it interesting.
Well, now you know how it feels to drive it in New England in the winter. But man, you already locked in to the round of 4. Eddie locks in. Now you've got teammates up into the championship 4. How do you like the chances of one of you getting the championship here this season?
Homestead will be kind of a little bit of a toss-up. I do love Homestead. It's one of my favorite tracks, but I also went with a track that wasn't going to get too awful spread out because I wanted it to be kind of exciting for the people that were watching and kind of give people a chance at it. So that way, a little bit of drafting early on. It'll probably tighten up as the run goes on. You might see a little bit of spread out, but it's kind of like the trucks, you know. It's a fun track. It's I like my chances there. Any car I go in, it's just you got to have luck fall your way though, and you got to keep your car clean. So we'll see. Eddie's pretty dang fast, and Kostick's pretty dang fast, and who I don't know who's going to be the 4th yet. So we'll see. But it should be a fun race.
Yeah, Kosick kind of locking himself in a little bit better tonight with the other drivers having some trouble as he was right there on the bubble. But man, speaking of getting spread out, kind of surprised that it was as clean as it was tonight. I think we had 3 cautions here tonight, but a lot of people struggling. So were you kind of surprised to see the caution not come out?
Yes and no. I found out that on the shorter tracks, if you put in a tight setup, you tend to get more cautions because people will, when they go for a pass, they're not expecting the car to get so tight underneath someone, and they end up wrecking on accident. You know, push up a little bit. you get a loose setup like this, it seems like the races are cleaner because everybody's driving on edge around each other. They're not pushing up into people. They're just most of the stuff you see are self spins, and you're not going to see as many people just ignoring each other, whatever it is. It's puts everybody on edge a little bit. Like you said, it's like driving on ice, and everybody's a little bit more careful, I guess. It's the way it seems to work out anyway. It seems like the loose setups are the cleaner races, oddly enough.
Well, even Griff didn't drive through anybody tonight, so that was kind of surprising as well. But
But
congrats.
he did dang sure drive through the grass.
He made sure to drive through the grass plenty. He was mowing the lawn there out in John Deere country. But before
He's
I
got
let
a
you go,
blade. He's going to use it.
before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to thank? Any shots you got to give?
Just shout out to Intensity for broadcasting this series. It's always a pleasure to go back and watch it. And thanks to everybody that tunes in and watch these races. It's a lot of fun and getting ready to near the end of the season. But next week's Darlington, so we're all looking forward to that. I think it's next week,
Yep.
18th. Yeah, Darlington. That's probably my favorite track on the schedule. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, again, congrats on the podium, and we talk to you soon.
All right, man. See you.
Have a good night. That was your second place finisher, Jonah Colbert. Let's bring in your winner here in dominating fashion, the 87 Eddie Smith. Eddie, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, man.
Man, you put on a clinic there tonight. You had almost a 3-second lead over Jonah and Kosick. They were slip sliding around. You looked like you were on rails out there tonight. Were you just able to save your tires a little bit better, or are you just holding back a little?
No, I slip slide. I think all three of us, me, Jonah, and Kostic, were both really dead even. I mean, I felt the same looseness that they were talking about. Just trying to, it's easier in the lead to not show it because you're not trying to run somebody down. I think maybe clean air helps too, getting a little bit of downforce on the front. But yeah, I mean, I was getting loose, just trying to change up my line, move around a little bit, try to find a little bit of drive off. Couldn't really drive Richmond the same way that I normally do with this car and setup. So it was an odd little deal, but I was able to get it done, keeping tires under me.
For sure, and having that lap traffic, it looked like some of the lap traffic was fighting you a little bit there. Did you find it a little more difficult to get through the lap traffic here tonight with some of the drivers, and was that kind of concern you a little bit, knowing that as slip sliding as you was, the caution might come out?
No, I don't remember having any trouble with lap traffic. It's just maybe it looks that way because you really can't like facilitate a pass. Like I can't get up under somebody and just drive around them or take the spot immediately, just because you have to be so careful on throttle. But I thought everybody was really respectful and yeah, I didn't think anything went wrong there unless I just wasn't paying attention. But I thought everybody was really respectful.
Well, fair enough. I mean, from up here, like you said, it's tough to pass, especially the slip slide. And it looked like a couple drivers who may have given you a break being the leader were kind of racing you there for the last car on the lead lap. But man, lock yourself into the championship four. That's got to feel good considering next week is Darlington.
Yeah, I'm excited for Darlington. And so be able to go and kind of just let it all hang out at Darlington sounds pretty awesome. So pretty excited about it. Just tonight was just so tough to pass. I didn't realize when on that initial start, I just wanted to get a lap led, just to help with points, and I didn't realize how big a deal that was. So being able to get out front was huge, and any of those three up in top three could have won. Everybody was pretty close. So, but it is nice not to have to worry too much about Darlington. Get a little Darlington stripe, no fast repairs. I can call it a day. So.
Well, I am pretty sure that you led flag to flag tonight. So congratulations on that here tonight. Before we let you go, anyone want to thank? Any shout outs you got to give?
Thank you for broadcasting, man. Thank you to everybody that puts on this league, Jonah and Daniel, for the work they do to keep this thing rolling. And thanks everybody for showing up tonight. We had 20-car field. That was awesome. It's good to get out there and race. Everybody seemed to be racing pretty good, and not that many cautions, and so it was a good night. So thank everybody for showing up, and it was a lot of fun.
And we look forward to seeing what you do the rest of the season. Good luck the way here on out.
All right, thanks, man.
Have a great night. That was your winner, Eddie Smith, as we finish up here on this Veterans Day with the fireworks flying at Richmond and Eddie Smith locking himself into the championship 4. Again, I want to thank everybody who's watching here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Twitch. We really do appreciate you tuning in with us here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell anytime, so you know anytime we go live, and you can catch us 6 nights a week as of right now. Don't forget to check out our great partners below, including the Butt Kicker, Race EPI, and IntensityRacing.com. Again, congratulations to Eddie Smith. Thank you again to all our veterans, both past and current. Anybody who's actively serving in the armed forces, we do appreciate your service. Anybody who's served in the past, we appreciate you just as much as well. And of course, join us here Sunday night for our truck doubleheader. We'll be live here starting at about 7:45 Eastern Time. And as our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over